The thing that fascinates me about waterfowling in New England is that the species that are hunted here are some of the hardiest creatures alive. And it really speaks to kind of the people that hunt them.
If you're not as hard as a coffin nail, you're not going to be a sea duck hunter.
Nothing beats seeing that sun come up every morning. Be it out here on the ledge, it connects you to the world around you.
And these are the guys slugging through the marsh, pounding their fish, trying to preserve that habitat like really nobody else.
I mean, these have been the most stringent constraints we have ever experienced.
They ran with it, man. That fire, I mean, it was an inferno what they did. It was awesome to watch.
You know, a lot of people have asked me over time, why do I love duck hunting more than I love the others? And for me, it's like the dance. You're calling to try and see if they'll come dance with you.
We're a bunch of determined individuals, and we push for wetland conservation. It is our passion.
Well done! Right. To see them cut, and dip, and weave.
Let's go!
It was like the epitome of puddle duck hunting.
To watch the birds work is the real objective of the hunt.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Thanks for tuning in to Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Betsy Newell. The state of Maine is known for big timber and big lobsters, a jewel of the New England coast. But it has a lot more to offer with upland, big game, and waterfowl hunting opportunities throughout the state. On this episode, DUTV co-host Doug Larsen travels to Maine to hunt with DU volunteers and enjoy some fantastic New England hospitality. All coming up next on DUTV.
The folks here have relied very much on their relationship with the sea and Mother Nature.
If you look through the history of waterfowling, you know, Long Island back in the day had broadbills or bluebills, you know, so thick that they looked like smoke. The Chesapeake had canvasbacks, you know, there were so many of them that you could walk across their backs. And Maine had, you know, the infamous or famous eiders. I mean, Maine was as famous for eiders as the Chesapeake was for canvasbacks. You know, go back to World War II when bomber pilots wore eider-down jackets.
Most of the cold weather gear that our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines wore, a lot of that came from Maine.
Yeah, I hunted with Dan DeLawyer when we did a great episode with a wonderful gentleman named Tom Humberstone up in New York. And it was at that moment that I realized that Dan, I don't know, he's either the most brilliant guy I've ever met or he needs to be institutionalized.
What's going on, dude? How you doing? Did you lose your duffel bag?
Last time I saw you, you were asleep in the bottom of the boat with a pile of mergansers on your head.
Yeah, probably. I was tired.
It is very difficult to outwit him or outquip him or out-sing him or out-chant him.
Now he's going to fight. George Foreman was me, brother. Selvest, what you got? I roll 40 medals on his chest. Big chest!
I've always seen these scenes of hunting from ledges in the coast of Maine for eiders and sea ducks, and it didn't disappoint. We went right to a ledge blind and had birds on both sides working.
We use a lot of long lines because you just got to keep moving with the tide. There's a lot of times we're out there every hour, maybe 2 hours, moving decoys, following the tide to where we got to go.
Look at the single.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Shoot him.
Good shot, good shot.
I think it was nice to sit, you know, in the blind today with Ray and with Casey and Ed.
Nice shot, nothing left for me.
And get one of those Browning shotguns in Ed's hands, and you know, it's nice to see the reflexes on those younger guys. I mean, I think Ed had a really good shooting day. The group of DU volunteers up here in the Northeast are the hardest of the hard chargers.
Oh, one coming in from the right here. Hard, 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 hard.
Crank him. Oh, it's so far behind, so far behind.
Well, that was embarrassing.
You were having a really good morning up until that very minute. Wow. We found your kryptonite, it's right to left.
Yeah.
You can't kill every longtail.
Hey, you know,
I normally shoot a side-by-side, so getting that third shell is like
Oh
awesome
my
for
God.
me. Like, send it.
Well, maybe before you shoot, you should cross your eyes so you'd see two barrels.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are competitive in their day-to-day, and they're really competitive as it relates to what they can get accomplished for DU. It's a great bunch. Out front, you know, what they did during COVID, I mean, these guys retooled Ducks Unlimited's entire fundraising campaign in the Northeast.
It's always been positive in New England. It's always been this can-do attitude, this banner of strength, but it really wasn't realized until we were put under this amazing, I mean, these have been the most
we got one coming
stringent constraints we have ever experienced.
We all came together and decided, well, what can we do? We're not just going to take some time off here. You know, we got some commitments and the things we want to do for the ducks. You know, so that prompted us to start thinking outside the box and some other ways that we could raise some funds.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Habitat, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited. Browning Firearms, the best there is. Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation, that's Higdon. And Ducks Unlimited's 85th anniversary, celebrating 85 years as North America's leader in wetlands conservation.
Think back to COVID when it started. We were all scared to death of it. We were scared to open packages on our porch. So imagine if you're a state chairman for Ducks Unlimited, you're supposed to have a banquet.
I'll be honest, for the first couple months when COVID started going, I didn't think I was going to have much to do.
Yeah.
But we quickly figured out how to change that.
We had to come up with ways to fund our conservation. I mean, we were still delivering acres, period. This wasn't going to last forever, but we needed to come out of the back end of it stronger than we went into it. Ed Gagne is the state chairman in the state of Vermont. Eric Page is a senior volunteer, the state chairman for Maine Ducks Unlimited. And one of the things that really sets those two men apart from those that have come before, they are from a new generation of conservationists.
You know, when I came back to them and said, hey, listen, we have to go online. We have to continue to raise money for Ducks Unlimited. They said, well, what do you want to do? I said, guns and ammo right now is what people want. They can't find it. I've got it. Here you go. Start selling.
So we came out with a 25 gun raffle.
It's interesting that the banquet culture has changed, and the pandemic has forced a change in the banquet culture. You know, it may need a new coat of paint, may need to be freshened up.
I'm 50 years old. I'm not the future of Ducks Unlimited. Guys like Ed Gagne, guys like Eric Page are.
Yeah, of course, a lot of people my age, you know, a lot of us are on social media. We've been raised on computers. With that knowledge, we started to try to figure, you know, how to manipulate the system and see if we could get, you know, some of this raffles out there. And then all of a sudden we figured with that we could get in front of 450,000 people on outdoor pages in northern New England in a half hour. We sold a 3,350 ticket gun bash, 50 gun gun bash out in 6.5 days.
No kidding.
And that brought in almost $70,000 for the ducks.
Well, good. It's nice to see a younger crew come in and, you know, bring young energy and belief and understanding of technology that you can leverage.
Years and years ago, it was Massachusetts DU, Connecticut DU, and Vermont DU, and never the twain shall meet.
In order to get through difficult times, you got to come together. You got to rally. And it's one big DU family. Folks in New Hampshire and Massachusetts heard about the gun bash and how well they did and how they unified. The state chairman in both those states were like, how do we do that? Well, I want to learn from these guys.
And our supporters and volunteers rallied around that flag and saw that we were capable of raising significant money.
They would normally do $20,000 at their gala, and we were netting $70,000 to $75,000.
When we've been able to bring different folks, 30-year-old guys, 25-year-old girls, college kids, our varsity program, when we're able to bring those individuals together for a common objective, there's absolutely nothing that we can't achieve.
It was an unexpected challenge, but it's also been really satisfying in the things that we've learned and been able to accomplish doing it.
The New England states of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island are best known for their colonial past, Atlantic coastline, vibrant fall foliage, and heavily forested mountains. But duck hunting traditions run deep here too, especially for sea duck species like eiders and scoters. Within that region, Maine is unique among all the states as being the most rural, with 31,000 square miles within its borders, but a population of just over 1.3 million. And within that population are a lot of dedicated DU volunteers and wetlands conservationists. People from all walks of life committed to helping us achieve our mission. Facing restrictive pandemic protocols, Maine volunteers persevered by embracing new fundraising techniques. When throwing in the towel would have been the easy way out, these volunteers and donors raised the bar and achieved DU Gold State status, meaning that their fundraising goals were surpassed by 70%. A prime example of volunteers going above and beyond to ensure a bright future for wetlands conservation. To learn more about how you can help Ducks Unlimited achieve our goals for wetlands conservation, visit ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com.
I think if you've ever been to one of these places that's a real duck hunting capital, whether it's Stuttgart, Arkansas, or somewhere else in the Grand Prairie, you understand what kind of economics are involved around duck hunting, whether it's gear and hats and waders. And when you talk about Ducks Unlimited, whether it's the banquet culture, fundraising culture, whether it's the day-to-day hunting, having Ducks Unlimited around puts a lot of money back in the economy.
His kids are like, Dad, you're spending all our inheritance.
Thursday, December 16th, Maine Ducks Unlimited is having a mega fundraiser.
People are anxious to get out of their houses. People were home long enough. It's great to get out and get the masks off and shake people's hands and, touch the merchandise again, see the decoys, see the guns, see the puppies, all that stuff. It's high time and it's great to be back.
We're gonna have 250 people at that club, and I tell you, not only have the volunteers stepped up in buying tables, but a lot of local businesses. When they heard what we were doing, they all wanted to be part of it.
They realize that you're spending money in some of these local economies that rarely see, tourism in off months. And it's that type of spend that gets some of those people through the winter months.
Being in a hunting area means you're selling gasoline and tires and snack food, and restaurants are open and hotel rooms and that sort of thing. And I think that sometimes we undersell ourselves as an economic engine.
Like I get a group that comes up to hunt, they're spending their money at the inn or a local hotel or renting a house. They're going out spending their money in restaurants, DU, and their events. They put money back into the same places. If I don't help preserve wildlife, be it ducks, be it the grouse, be it the turkeys, any of this, I'm not gonna have a job.
A guide in particular, someone who's outdoors every day, is in a way, he's the canary in the coal mine, right? I mean, essentially those guys are seeing something on the ground every day that they're out. And sometimes just that sort of casual observation is sometimes enough to get a conversation started, which gets scientists interested in it, and then we go down the road.
And I'm taking from a resource that I need to put back into it. That's a very, very big thing for my guide service, and I really wish it would be a big thing for a lot of other guide services.
It's meant a lot to come together and work as a team, and quickly realizing the support that I had around me. It's meant a lot to all of us and a huge accomplishment for us, to be able to, set Maine ahead, set an example, and just blow our goals for 2020 out of the water.
There aren't a lot of organizations, let alone conservation organizations, 501c3s, that can say that they grew during a global pandemic. We did that in Maine.
Well, today we're going to talk about how to prepare a legend to hunt in some really extremely cold conditions. We need to prepare a checklist, make sure he's ready, from nutrition to the gear you're going to need to make sure he has a safe, enjoyable hunt. Our first consideration will be nutrition. Well before the hunt, 2 weeks at least, we want to start increasing the amount of food intake your dog is getting. We love the Purina Pro Plan 30-20. The 20% fat that's going to matter. That fat converts into energy. Slowly build up your dog's stamina in the field, of course running, weather acclimate them, get them out in the weather, in the colder weather, not sleeping on the couch in the house, and build up their nutrition. Next move would be to consider the gear. Here we have a thermal vest. The thermal vest becomes an insulator that once that water gets inside, the body heat will heat that vest up and provide great protection. The next consideration will be high and dry. Teach your dog to work off a water stand. The dog standing in water is going to become hypothermic really, really quick. So by putting the water stand in the water where the dog can hop up on top, we get them out of the water high and dry. If we have really inclement weather, sleet, snow, let's consider a dog hide that's well insulated. Oh, the dog hide, you can tell Legend likes it. Keeping the dog high and dry is important, but when he starts showing signs of stress, perhaps the dog doesn't want to go on a retrieve, is reluctant, or he's got a cold tail, symptoms of cold tail where the tail is between his legs, showing pain in his rear end, it's time to stop. Better to err on the side of precaution. Get you a dry towel out of your blind bag, dry the dog off, and give it a rest. Think of your dog and the care of your dog in cold weather conditions.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. DUTV is powered by Browning Ammunition, the best there is. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. Tetra Hearing, more than hearing protection, it's hearing perfection. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Rolling Thunder Game Calls, the sound of a new generation. Closed captioning for Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
A lot of misses with a shotgun are caused by people who stop the gun. And really the main reason for stopping the gun isn't that people stop their swing, it's that they look back at the gun. That's what stops the gun. So a good drill you can do is to shoot a target, keep your eyes on the target all the way through the shot, pick up the biggest piece, follow that with the muzzle. So you break the bird, follow it with the gun, all the time thinking about keeping your eye on the target, keeping your head on the gun. That's how you follow through, and that's how you keep the gun moving.
Ducks Unlimited's Guns and Gear is brought to you by Tetra Hearing, built for hunters by hunters. Calls, wings, or triggers, hear the hunt like never before.
New England people are very hardworking, very committed, and very loyal. To have that team that wasn't willing to give up or use COVID as an excuse to not do the things that we are there to do.
3 birds on the deck.
Yeah.
Y'all are creating all sorts of energy anyway. Just feed on that.
This is nothing that I could have done myself. The ideas that came out, I had nothing to do with. It took different points from different people to put the pieces together to create what we have.
When you are part of that type of win and you are part of that type of success, eagles soar with eagles. I mean, success breeds success. And when you can take that to the next level and bring more new people into the nest because of it, it's a huge win all around.
The volunteers and the paid Ducks Unlimited staff, Ray Ilg, our new regional director here, has been more supportive than I can ever imagine.
They did not ask why, they just did it.
What we are doing on Thursday in Portland, we're gonna bring close to $20,000 to the local economy. I mean, without those caterers, without those hotel personnel and staff, we can't continue to do what we do, which is raise money for conservation.
Hunters really are the best conservationists because they seem to be the people most passionate about having waterfowl there, regardless whether they can hunt them or not in the future. They pour tremendous amounts of passion into preserving an animal that lives in an area that people don't care about. Marshy, watery, wet areas that are not suitable for development. And these are the guys slugging through the marsh, pounding their fist, trying to preserve that habitat like really nobody else.
When my little girl decides if she wants to be a hunter or not, an outdoors woman or not, that I can take her to places that I personally, with people around me, have put effort into and conserved and saved and gave wildlife habitat forever.
We have been able to raise more money during a global pandemic in Maine than we did in, say, 2019 when we were not handcuffed at all. So to say that I'm very proud of Ray and his volunteer partners throughout the state is truly an understatement.
What a great time enjoying the wonderful outdoor experience that is the state of Maine. Thanks to all the DU volunteers and staff for joining us and for their support of DUTV. Please visit us anytime at ducks.org. See you again next week on DUTV.
For Christmas, I'm buying you that island right there.
I'm buying you that.
You come up here with your big old corn-fed Arkansas girl, and you can just live out there in peace and harmony.
I think the dog's gonna sleep good, and it was great watching him. The Ray. It's all right, you're like the fifth person, so.
That's why the door was closed.
You were in the other barn, now you come over here. It's very inconvenient.
Of the way New England people are.
Freaking Dan. I even told Dan, guy. You done told him too. Golly, what a dude.
I don't understand why you don't put a little sign up.
Because I told you to watch the door. That was the whole point of me.
Well, I got just a little news flash. When I start taking orders from you, that's when is really down.
Well, right now it's downhill because we got to start this interview over again.
Dan, I'm a volunteer. I'm trying to get this done.
Can you repeat that, please?